Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Creative Diaries. My name is Lillian. Thank you for being here, for joining me today, or whatever day you might be in. So I noticed I'm doing a bit of stutter stepping before starting this episode. So I'm just gonna go for it. I've already started. This is my fourth take. This is my fourth take, which actually feels a little bit better than the last episode. The last time I attempted to record an episode, it took me about like 10 to 15 takes before I let myself just release into speaking, release into where I am. And I'm still kind of on wave of this wave recently that has taken over where I feel like I've been sort of hooked or possessed by perfectionism, some insecurities coming up for me. And so this is what I want to continue talking about today. Um, so yeah, before I move forward, if you are listening to this, you're listening to a free preview, unless you are a paid subscriber, in which you will receive the whole meal, the whole thing. And if you want to have a deeper dive or a more complex taste of what I'm here to offer, you can become a paid subscriber for $5 a month. And I would greatly appreciate it. My aim is to build connection and to build community, as well as for myself, this process being a very personal journey of mine in learning how to be more of myself, learning how to express myself authentically, learning how to unblock my expression, my throat, my voice. Um, yeah, so this is why I show up first and foremost for myself for this practice, and then also to build community and to build relationships and to hopefully have some kind of positive impact. Um, Even though I also am with the very real possibility that my art and my work maybe is ultimately neutral. Um, it is my hope that I have a net positive impact on the world. However, that's not up to me. All I know how to do is just keep showing up with what I love and what I'm curious about, what I'm interested in. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and now I'm forgetting who it was. It could have been Renee Sills from Embodied Astrology, which is a really fantastic platform and podcast. Um, but I believe they were talking about how, oh no, 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 it wasn't. It wasn't Renee Sills, even though that's a fantastic podcast. It was something else. Oh, I forget her name too. Darn it. She's a tarot reader on YouTube. I think her name is Soul Revolution. And well, first I will say I try my best to not go down too deeply down the tarot reading rabbit holes on the internet because those will definitely hook you. But this woman, I like her vibe, and what she says and how she says it really resonates with me. But she was speaking about how we all have a role that we play, and we're all part of such a bigger tapestry, such a bigger collective tapestry than we can even conceptualize, right? So it's worth it to keep showing up as you are, even if you don't know what kind of impact you're having, because it's not just your own story. It's not just about your own art or your own work or your own self-expression, but that it's a part of something much larger. And that perhaps it makes things easier. Perhaps it makes it easier to show up when we don't center ourselves so much. This is something that I try to remind myself of. There's some kind of balance here. there's some kind of balance here around, yes, centering myself as in I am taking responsibility for my own self-expression. And it is about my voice. It is about what I have to offer. It is about my gift. And while that's important to sort of claim and name and feel empowered by, sometimes I notice for myself, I become too self-centered, right? Too self-centered, where like all of a sudden, these things that I want to do feel really heavy and really hard because I get insecure and I start to overthink things and I start to feel really small and dumb and stupid. And I'll speak more about that in a little bit. And so all of this sort of self-victimization or the insecurities and the fears come up. It's really helpful for me to remind myself that it's not about me, that it's not about me. That actually what I'm here to do is just give whatever gift I have, even if I have no control over what the outcome will be or the impact that I have. What I can do is do my best to maintain integrity and to keep evolving and expanding my consciousness and keep rooting and grounding into learning love and higher consciousness of relating. Anyway, it's a very shadowy thing. It was a very shadowy thing that I came to sort of realize that, and I don't mean this with judgment, I mean this with compassion, that like a lot of the fears and insecurities that I have are extremely self-centered. And what would happen if I actually decentered myself for a moment? You know what I mean? And this is relatable, right? These things that we get hooked on, these insecurities, like, oh, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough. Whatever I'm making is not the best, right? And it's like that's a very self-centered point of view, right? It's myopic. It's making It's like assuming that every single thing that we do really, really matters. And it really matters to other people. But the truth is like, no one cares if you have spinach in your teeth, or no one cares if your voice cracks, or if you sing off tune. You know what I mean? Like, no one cares. That's not what matters. And so anyway, there is this interplay and this tension and this dynamic around like empowering myself, right? Empowering myself through getting in touch with my authenticity and my self-expression. And also like remembering that I am not the center of the world, and that everyone has their own point of awareness and point of perception, and that whatever my perception is so incredibly limited. And for me, when I remind myself of that, it's liberating because it really brings me into like, oh, that like kind of fuck it energy. Where I'm like, oh, I can just, I don't know, it doesn't have to matter so much. Or maybe these things that I'm afraid of aren't really scary at all. They're just some sort of like narcissistic rabbit hole that I ended up stumbling down.